Are we okay?
Yes.
I'd like to introduce our first speaker. Ken was recently asked by a club member how he was able to keep track of so many details last year as VP Ed and still have a life. But Ken said he had a system to establish to organize and focus on his priorities. Here to help us with organizing our lives, please help me welcome Ken Smith with his speech, Organize Your Life While Playing Foursquare with Monkeys. Organize Your Life While Playing Foursquare with Monkeys, Ken Smith.
It's a problem with the remote. Touch it sometimes. Does funny things. Thank you, Madam Toastmaster and fellow Toastmasters, and our most welcome guest. Looking forward to a good year with you as our area governor. I was recently bemoaning the fact that I procrastinate a lot on organizing, and you might say I've been absent in that particular regard lately. But we were planning to entertain. We're going to have guests over, and so I felt some pressure to get organized. So I rushed down to the bookstore and bought a book on how to get organized, and it gave me some tips, and I started organizing my living room first, and when I started working through the bookshelves, I realized I bought that book 2 years ago. Setting and completing your priorities is easy if you first get organized and have a system to determine which priorities you should concentrate on and when. Several months ago, Gary gave us a talk on how he schedules everything out using a spreadsheet. And he's got every half hour slotted for what he will be doing during those times. And that's a wonderful concept, wonderful program to use, and I encourage everyone to use it. But what do you put in each of those time slots? How do you determine what is your highest priority? I suggest you make 6 lists. You might vary a little bit, but I definitely have Toastmasters as one of mine. But self, finance, family, home, work, and Toastmasters. And here are just some quickies to pop in on those. One of the things I make sure of in every day under family is time. Time for family. We spend time together every day. No exceptions. One of the things I do, I sit at my computer a lot so I can put things in there, but I'm not always there. I do have a cell phone that allows me to do some voice dictation for notes if I think of them when I don't have pen and paper ready. But when I have pen and paper ready, I just use something that we printed before. It's scratch paper, but it's clean on the other side. And I fold it in half. I don't know if you remember the old envelopes we used to use in home. This was the easiest way to fold a letter to go into it. Fold it in half and then tri-fold it. Well, this gives you 6 columns. So I put the 6 headings on and I make notes as I go along. Self, finance, family, home, work, and Toastmasters. Those are the 6. And then I know the things I need to do. I don't know where it was. I've forgotten. Somewhere past 40, I started losing my memory. So when I think of something, I have to write it down then, right then. Or it may be days before I remember it again. So that's a system I've developed, which you may want to consider using yourself. First thing you need to do is clear the clutter. In order to stay organized, you must first get organized. Everything you look at should either serve a purpose for the location it's in, or be something you can't live without. Everything else should go. I learned years ago how a bureaucrat cleans out his filing cabinet. He first makes 2 copies of everything he's going to throw away. I don't recommend that. You need to simplify your life. As soon as you recognize you're starting to slip, just get back on track. And this goes for any goal you have. If you're working out on a regular basis and you can't make it one week, don't quit the goal. If you're on a diet, don't quit the goal because you cheated one time. Just get right back on it. Prioritize your goals. I'll show you how I do that. You can take some of that for yourself or leave it behind. And of course, get your finances in order. Here are a number of free apps. I have a pass-out you'll get afterwards. You don't have to write them down now. But these I'm going to go over very quickly as we go through it. First one is Remember the Milk. This is just a task organizing system that you can do online. You can keep it open on your computer at all times if you want. It will also automatically send emails to your inbox. It allows you to prioritize things 1, 2, and 3. The fourth is not worth putting down to begin with in most cases. But if it doesn't have a priority, then it's number 4. I'll show you more about that when we start playing 4 squares with monkeys. Next is a Dropbox. This is good for keeping files. You can just use it as a backup storage system, but you can also use it to share files with friends. We could be using this in Toastmasters if we weren't using the Yahoo groups for our files. TripIt to plan your trips. Dragon has a number of voice-to-text mobile applications so that you can make notes as you're going about your daily life. You can have your mobile phone. ActiveBox is if you have a Gmail email account, you can use ActiveBox to organize that. I use Google Calendar, and the reason for that is I've migrated to that for a number of reasons. One, it does automatically send notices to my email box, or actually just onto my screen. It also will send them to the cell phone. And you can also use multiple calendars. For example, I have a Conquer Breakfast Toastmaster calendar that I've suggested all of you log into, and I keep the events that are going to be happening in Toastmasters on that, and you can all make that part of your Google Calendar. Google Contacts integrates with the Google Calendar, so birthdays pop up, etc. I use Notebook also for planning events. I plan this speech using Notebook. Now, very quickly, we're going to go over time. I apologize. Foursquare. You need to first look at the top row as important and the next row as not important. Then you have the top column, or the left column, as urgent, and the right column as non-urgent. You put them together, and you have a grid where you can plot things. Grid number 1 are the things that are both important and urgent. Grid number 2, important but not urgent. Things that may go in that are things that you definitely want to do, but today's not the deadline. Deadline is coming up. Number 1, deadline is here. You need to get it done. Number 3, not important but urgent. This might be a phone call that you just received. You don't want to necessarily interrupt what you're doing for. You can schedule a time in your day to return calls. And number 4, not important, not urgent. These are things off in the future that you have plenty of time to work on for family vacation, things like that. Next, we're going to talk about the monkeys. First of all, the monkey is the monkey on your back. It means there's something you have to get done. And you can't get it off your back until you get it done or pass it along. You may have more than one monkey on your back. But the question is, where do you put the monkey on your calendar? Is that an important and urgent monkey? Something that's you've got to get done today or tomorrow? Is it important but less urgent? Is it not important but it is urgent, like a phone call, or not important and not urgent. I rarely bother much in number 4. I do everything in number 1 and do as much in number 2 as I can so that they don't become number 1 is the goal. Now, whose monkey is it? There's a question you have to ask. Is it your monkey or somebody else's that you're dealing with? And whose back is he on at the moment? For example, Jim was treasurer. He would send out the notices to people that they have dues due. That was his monkey. It's now off his back and it's on our backs. But it's still his job to monitor it. So I mark things in mine, NM if they're my monkey, and YM if they're your monkey. And I actually have 2 different files, one for mine, one for them. I find that's the easiest way to get along. So, yeah, I'm way over time, I apologize. So I hope this has given you enough information so that you can go about prioritizing your affairs and get your life in order. Madam Toastmaster.
Now, if I may have a minute of silence, please. A minute of silence. Everybody write your notes if you can. Pass them around.